Hello, folks. This is a sports news. May 7th, 2025. We got some news from the NFL, of course. Also, we got some NBA news. We have a new name in Utah, plus the Champions League final is set. Let's get to the news. Our top story, as I did it in this short video, if you want to check that out, the Steelers are trading George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys. Here is the deal: the Cowboys will receive George Pickens and a 2027 sixth round pick, while the Steelers will receive a 2026 third round pick and a 2027 fifth round pick. So now he joins a duo with CeeDee Lamb in the NFC East. And let me tell you, look at the NFC East right now. The Commanders got Debo and Terry McLaurin. You also got Malik Nabers and Wan'Dale Robinson with the Giants. And plus, you also have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. No surprise. Now Dallas got their own duo and wide receiver, and that is CeeDee Lamb and um, George Pickens. Now, George Pickens is going to play in his final year of his rookie deal. So we're expecting the Cowboys to make a extension maybe next off season, which that could probably be a possibility. But this one is a massive pick for the Cowboys. I'll give this an A for the Cowboys. Meanwhile, for the Steelers, I'll give it a B minus. Again, they just got a third round for next year, a fifth in 2027. And now they got to think who is their WR2, of course. You got DK Metcalf. They did sign Robert Woods, of course. And they got Roman Wilson, who they'll hope he'll be ready to go as WR3. Some questions around Pittsburgh is only where we're going to find out. But George Pickens now going to the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of the more NFL news, the Jaguars have released Gabe Davis after one season. Now, Gabe Davis signed with the Jaguars last offseason to a 3-year deal. Unfortunately, it cuts off 1 year, and now Gabe Davis is available on the free agent market. The Eagles and Dallas Goedert have agreed to rework his deal for 2025. So the Eagles will be keeping tight end Dallas Goedert on a rework deal that will keep him in 2025. Let's go to college football, where former Utah quarterback Cam Rising will retire due to an Lerner's hand injury. He's been dealing with a bunch of injuries, of course, during his college football career. And unfortunately, his trip to the NFL cut short. Now retires due to Lerner hand injury. Let's go to the NBA. The Kings are hiring former Indiana bench boss Mike Woodson as the associate head coach. So interesting hire. Remember, Mike Woodson, who was in former Indiana bench boss, had a chance for Indiana to go to the tournament, this year's tournament and last year's NCAA tournament, and they did not make it through. And now he's going to be the associated head coach for the Sacramento Kings. Meanwhile, for the Warriors, Steph Curry, who suffered a hamstring last night in their win, 99-88 against the Timberwolves, he will be out at least 1 week. So it is a grade 1, which confirms that he will miss Game 2 tomorrow, and expect to miss him, likely to miss Game 3 and Game 4, and they will hope to bring him back, maybe Game 5, but the best scenario would be if he does come back to maybe Game 3 or Game 4. The Houston Rockets and Fred VanVleet are pushing Friday's deadline date on his $44.9 million team option for next season to June 29. So what they're talking about is navigated exercise the option versus completing a long-term deal, which they are going to work on a long-term deal for Fred VanVleet to stay in Houston. Let's go to college basketball. Some big surprise here. The ACC are switching to an 18-game schedule. Originally, it was going to be a 20 game schedule, which they always do it every year. Now they're changing it up to 18-game schedule. The NHL, let's go to that. And how about the big name? Utah Hockey Club has picked the Mammoths. Yep, that's the team name. Here are the results for the voters. The Mammoth won with 850,000 votes for the Mammoth, and it's beaten Hockey Club and Outlaws in the final vote. Now, we knew this was going to happen because here's why. Utah Hockey Club is replacing Arizona Coyotes, of course, who they ended their farewells year, and then their season, their inaugural year, was perfect in Utah. But they said they were going to keep the Utah Hockey Club only for one season until they find their real name, and it is going to be the Utah Mammoth. And I gotta say, that's a cool name. That's a cool name. Utah Mammoths versus the Vegas Golden Knights. Does that make sense? Utah? Shout out to Utah. What a great name. Finally, let's go to the UEFA Champions League, which it is set. The Champions League final is already been set. But PSG closed in on their first Champions League crown after a semifinal win over Arsenal. They win it 2-1, but on aggregate 3-1. So it is official. It is PSG versus Inter Milan at 3 p.m. May 31st in the Allianz Arena in Munich in Germany. You can watch that on Paramount Plus. So far, it's going to be a fun one. We got PSG who are looking for their first Champions League crown, which they've been waiting for this since 2020, which they played against Bayern. They lost to that in the Champions League. Now they're going to get the chance to hopefully win their first Champions League title for the French, for Paris. And I'm pretty sure right now, over there in Paris, France, they're just partying right now. Meanwhile, for Arsenal, it is a tough season, of course. Again, not making to the Champions League final. They did not even win the Premier League, which is brutal. But also injuries have been involved this season for Arsenal. So we'll see where it goes right now. But at least they'll qualify for next year's Champions League. That is it for sports news. If you have not seen my last sports news, I mentioned about last news. Let's see, what do I have for my last news? My last news was Todd Golden got an extension. Go check that out on my channel on the top. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell for more sports news. We'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.